This video is brought to you by NordVPN. Get 75% off via the link below. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is commonly voted one of the best games of all time, and is even ranked the highest rated game ever on review aggregated site Metacritic. The Zelda series' first entry to utilize 3D graphics was iconic in how it helped influence the video game industry, and is a game that will surely be remembered for many years to come. However, there's one region in the world which likely had a very different experience of the hit game than other countries did. This region in question is Spain, and is due to Nintendo using an extremely unusual method for translating the game into the Spanish language. Originally released on the Nintendo 64 in Japan and the US in November 1998, and then in European countries a few weeks later, behind the scenes there were actually some big issues going on with the game's scheduled release date. Unexpected setbacks over on the Japanese side meant that the developers were extremely pressed for time. However, orders from higher up were that it wasn't possible to delay the game's release date. Part of this was likely wanting to make sure it was out in time for the holiday season. This led to Nintendo's offices in Spain receiving a sudden phone call from Japan explaining that there wouldn't be enough time to implement the Spanish translation that they had been working so hard on. This must have been a crisis situation in Nintendo's Spanish offices, especially with how text and narrative heavy the game is and with how close to release this was. Thus, from this situation sprung one of the most unusual ways the game has been localized for foreign markets in all time. You see, rather than releasing the game in Spanish, the team brainstormed what the best workaround would be for handling this tough dilemma. From their meetings in Madrid, they decided on creating the Guía de Textos, which translates to text guide. This 150-page book was bundled with Spanish copies of the game and contained all English lines of text in the game, which fans will know is a lot of dialogue. Then immediately under the English lines is the Spanish translation. This means all non-English speaking players had to play the game with book in one hand, controller in the other, and try and match and piece together a language they don't understand, and continue to look up and down from the screen to try and work out what's going on and what's being said. It's fair to say, however, that the Spanish team did try their best to handle this difficult situation, but making matters worse was how open-ended Ocarina of Time is. If progress was fairly linear with only one set path to go down, players could traverse this book approach much easier. However, with Ocarina of Time having so many choices, it could be very hard at times to find the right dialogue from the game. Nintendo did try their best to organize the dialogue in a logical manner, but there was of course only so much they could do. Another common complaint from players was that due to the difficulty in navigating the guide, they would end up being exposed to lots of storyline spoilers as well. Luckily for Spanish players though, all future Nintendo games would include a full proper translation following this. This includes the next Zelda game, Majora's Mask, which proudly declared in big letters that it was in Spanish. However, unfortunately, even the Spanish Virtual Console versions for the Wii and Wii U still don't have Spanish, and not even the text guide is provided for these versions, meaning that unless you can track down an old secondhand copy, which are starting to become pretty rare, non-English speakers would sadly be out of luck. What do you think about this workaround that the Spanish team used to get their game to Spanish players? As always, please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and consider subscribing to see more videos on how media is changed around the world. Until next time, thank you for watching.